Spencer.
And it's your boy JD, back from Universal Studios, Florida, Nickelodeon Studios.
And this is the Edge.
Right?
And we're here to review The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
What? We're late on this.
Right. Producer Eric is a little bit tied up right now. He's saving a cat from a tree, and now they're both stuck. But in his absence, we'll get this review going. Again, this is from a long time ago. It came out 2013, I actually believe.
No,
was it 2014?
It was like early 14.
I think it was 2013 because I think it was their game of the year for 2013.
Bruh.
He'll look it up.
Bruh.
Because I'm the one that played it. So it came out in 2013.
I remember that.
Late 2013. It was on some people's game of the year. And I wanted to give a review of it since, we're a little slow early in the year.
Oh, it was. You right.
My experience.
You right.
My experience.
You right.
With The Legend of Zelda. I started with A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo.
And then you linked the worlds.
I moved on from there to eventually Ocarina of Time. I played a little bit of the Game Boy ones, which would be there were some Capcom
Seasons.
ones, which are Oracle of Seasons and Ages. I played a little bit of that, so I've kind of been in the Zelda series. It's never been my favorite, but it's always been something I held really, really high.
Blasphemous.
Because it's a fantastic series, and everyone should play all of them.
Everyone, all the time.
But should they play this one? Stay tuned. So I completed the game, so I'm 100% done with it, including all the side quests and all that stuff.
Damn.
And again, if you want, so let's move on to the story of the game. It's kind of all the Zeldas, the story isn't that great. On a couple of them, it's been pretty good. Like Ocarina of Time had a cohesive story that was pretty good. Twilight Princess was actually pretty solid.
I actually like Twilight.
Wind Waker was pretty good. But none of them these aren't really games that are going to blow you away in the story department. They've all been kind of designed to be gameplay and go into the dungeon, do it, leave. Go into the dungeon, do it, leave. So that doesn't...
That's me and hookers.
Gross.
Anyway.
But that doesn't...
I love my girlfriend.
And that style doesn't really lend itself well to a story. So it is what it is. But as far as game stories go, it's okay. So in this one, you deliver a sword, you get beat down, you meet Ravio. He's a traveling merchant. At one point, soon after, you gain the ability to move along walls. So even though it's kind of a 2D-ish game, you kind of have the ability to make it 3D by moving along the sides, which is something new for the series. Soon after that, you gain the ability to buy stuff, which we'll get into in a little bit when we get into the gameplay. You save Hyrule. There's a lot of story elements that get crammed in at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, I don't really care about the characters because you haven't given me a reason to. So I thought that was kind of a weakness. But again, Zelda isn't for the story. Zelda's all about gameplay. And as far as gameplay goes, when you're looking at it, you got dungeons with puzzles and item-themed bosses. Here's the weakest part of this game.
Oh, no.
The problem is... how I mentioned before, you can buy or rent your items, which is a novel idea. It's clever. But in my opinion, and this isn't echoed throughout the community, so I feel alone on this. But in my opinion, that completely ruined what Zelda's all about. And let me explain. So when you go to a dungeon, you're supposed to have your items there. You're supposed to have, let's say you go to the first dungeon and you get a bow in that dungeon. So there's going to be a lot of puzzles that have to do with bows. So you do it. The next dungeon you go to has puzzles that have bows in it, and then they have a hook shot. So you get a hook shot. So now you have to combine your knowledge of bows and hook shots to complete the puzzles. So on and so forth. The dungeons get more complicated because the items become more of a list.
Diverse.
Yeah, and diverse. So you have more options to expand upon. The way they designed this one, you can buy or rent any item in the game. Therefore, for every dungeon you go to, you don't actually need all the items. You only need one item, which is labeled on the outside.
It's labeled on the outside?
Yeah.
Is it? We'll talk about it later because this is your review.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep going.
No, absolutely. Throw in whenever you want. But therefore, the problem is all these dungeons are actually incredibly shallow, and you end up using the ability to walk on walls for every single dungeon, and it becomes the strategy to beat it in every single dungeon you play. So I felt that really, really hurt it for me. Otherwise, as far as the actual mechanics go, it's solid. Just like any Zelda game, they put a lot of emphasis on making it feel like, you're swinging the sword, you're doing everything. And for that part, it's really good. And as a Link to the Past, huge fan of Link to the Past, it played very similarly, and I really appreciated all that stuff. So, solid gameplay, but the mechanics behind the dungeons, which is really the main focus, was kind of a letdown. Visually, it was very pretty. It reminded me of A Link to the Past, just smoothed out.
It was kind of like Oracle of Seasons Link, wasn't it? Like the way his hair was and stuff. Like he had the two little side things, and then the.
Well, that was Link to the Past too.
Was it?
It was really close to Link to the Past.
I mean, timeline.
Timeline-wise,
I don't know, like Hyrule.
6 generations after.
Yeah, so it was like it's more that Link than it is the Link to the Past Link.
Well, it's after Link to the Past. It's the sequel.
It's
pseudo.
okay. It happens after it. Never mind then.
So yeah,
I just meant the way the actual Link looks and the way the game itself.
Oh,
represents
you mean
itself.
3/4
Art
isometric?
Style.
3/4 isometric view, like above and.
Never mind. Forget it.
Nah. Anyway,
Forget it.
but that's what it is, and it's cartoony but smooth out. I don't think anybody should be expecting like a big 3D adventure. If you are, you're coming to the wrong place.
Yep.
But I loved them. I thought the visuals were really nice. A lot of good touches. And the sound, if you like Zelda music, which everyone should, I think it's really good.
It's educational.
You'll like it. The Kokiri Forest is my personal favorite. The sound design is just, your typical, the famous Zelda. Yeah. Exactly. You got it. That's all it is. It's good stuff. It's fun.
It's like quiet. Oh, yes.
But like most games, I played on mute, so it doesn't really matter to me.
Did you really?
I don't like to listen to video game stuff unless it's really like wowing. Like
It's Zelda.
A good RPG, I'll play with the music on. 'Cause usually have good music. Most of these games, I'll play the music for a little bit, but I like to listen to my own music, which is like
it's like the complete polar opposite. You got heavy metal or something.
yeah, maybe it's heavy metal that's Zelda themed or something.
Do 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 do.
Dubstep.
Okay, all right. It's too long.
So anyway, we can get down to the pros and the cons. The pros, it's got good graphics. This could be a pro. Maybe it's short. It's a fairly
easily digestible.
Right. So it's meant to be a handheld, so it's in short bursts. So it's got that going for it, and it's a solid Zelda action game. Whereas you get to play, and if you like just like an action RPG, if you're into that, you'll probably like it. It's got all those elements for it. As far as the cons go, like I've said, the item system completely ruins the dungeons for me. They felt really shallow. I beat some of the dungeons in 15 minutes, which is, I know they were going for short, but that's too short for me. I think a dungeon needs to be a little more complex than that. It's going to be way too easy for veterans of the series. Anybody that's played any of these games before, you're going to breeze through it.
Hey, man.
Probably won't even die. I've heard a lot of people didn't even die once.
Wow. Not every dungeon's going to be the water temple, right? At the end of the day. Quality sometimes,
Yeah. And then also a con is the story feels really forced at the end. I don't mind if a story is non-existent or not focused on, but when you want me to care about the story in the last 5 minutes of the game and you haven't emphasized it at any other point,
you're like,
yeah, it's kind of a letdown. So,
yeah.
It was a good twist, but it would have been nice if I got some characterization before it.
Mm.
Would I recommend it? No.
Whoa.
I unfortunately wouldn't recommend it to people. I would recommend that you play A Link to the Past, which this is supposed to be a spiritual successor to. It has much more complicated dungeons, and I think a longer journey, ironically.
I think it has like one of the hardest dungeons too.
It's got some tricky ones.
It's got some
and then if
ones.
you do want the 3D experience, Ocarina of Time for the 3DS is great. And then of course they're releasing Majora's Mask pretty soon. So give that a shot.
All right.
Well,
wait,
Majora's Mask I can't recommend more than Ocarina of Time because it's a little bit more for certain people, not for everybody. But Ocarina of Time would be a good place to start, or A Link to the Past. And then if you wanted to even go a little bit further, you could probably try one of the, if you want like an easier experience, you could try one of the Link's Awakening would be a good one, which you can download for like $5 or something.
Or if you like older Link, you can try Twilight Princess. Don't go Skyward Sword.
Those ones are a little bit trickier to get.
Yeah. Oh, well, they might be releasing it
if they release it, great. But as of this recording, it's a little bit trickier to get those. But
It's
those are all
good
really
things.
good games too.
Yeah.
So that's my review on it. I'm Spencer,
Damn, and I'm gonna get crucified. Fuck.
and this is The Itch. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, make sure you comment down below. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm sure somebody will.
Tell me how I'm wrong. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Like the video and subscribe for more itchy action.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Oh.